Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. This is the latest in terms of your Arsenal news and transfer news. We're going to be discussing Cody Gakpo. We're going to be discussing Lucas Paqueta, and we will also be discussing the future of William Saliba, as Atletico Madrid are saying they are interested in the young French centre-back. Consider dropping a like on the video, subscribing to the channel as well, and of course in the comment section, let me know what you think about these stories and whether you agree with all the targets that Arsenal is looking at the moment. Right, let's start off with the striker situation at the club. Both strikers, Xhaka and Alexander Lacazette, not good enough, honestly, but they've come out and spoken about their respective futures. Now, according to Alexander Lacazette, he's already come out and said, "Look, I'm in talks with a couple of other clubs. I'm in talks with very many new clubs, and it looks like I'm going to be going on." Now, talking to Canal Plus, this is what he said: "I'm in discussions with a lot of clubs. I'm open. I've never cut contact with Lyon since I left. I try to go back to the club once or twice a year. So now I know now that I know that I'm free, they've come for me. They've come for my information." And was talking to Canal Plus. So look, I think I've been always clear about Alexander Lacazette, and I'm very lucky as an Arsenal fan and content creator that at this point in time, many Arsenal fans have started to realize and see that despite the fact that we highly rate Alexander Lacazette, he's nowhere good enough. He's nowhere nowhere near that stature, that quality that we want in a centre forward. Look, Liverpool, if you look at their forward line, if you look at their front three, they're giving you 20s and 30s of goals. If you look at Spurs, they are Son and Ken, they are always available, and they can give you 10s and 20s of goals. Lacazette can't do that. When was the last time we have seen Alexander Lacazette score 20 goals in a league campaign? And we always go on to defend him. We always go on to protect him. It's time up for me for Alexander Lacazette. Now he says he's in talks with a couple of other clubs, and Lyon have also come for his information. Look, I don't care where he goes. I don't care which move is going to be good for him. What I want is for him to go out of this Arsenal side so that Arsenal can get in a new striker. We're looking at a couple of them we'll discuss later, but at the moment it looks like Victor Osimhen is Mikel Arteta's number one target on that forward line. United seem to be in the driving seat for Darwin Núñez, and more and more stories are saying that Arsenal have really, dropped their interest in Darwin Núñez. But of course, we'll find out later. Alexander Lacazette is in talks. That is confirmed, in talks with other clubs. We hope everything goes on very well. Xhaka, on the same story as well, has also come out and said, "Look, I'm going to be leaving the this Arsenal side. I'm going to be leaving the club. I'm going to be looking for game time elsewhere." And he said something very passionate. He said, I signed this contract when I was 18 for 5 years. I've only started for Arsenal in like 30 times, and I absolutely agree with them. But at some point in time, Xhaka has got to ask himself this question: whether these Arsenal fans love him, whether this Arsenal side has given him the opportunity or not. He's got to ask himself something. Why has Xhaka started more games than he has started? Why has Gabriel Martinelli started more games than he has started? And why is Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and all those youngsters starting more games than he's starting? If he doesn't understand that, if he doesn't really find it in himself to dig deep and find these solutions, I don't think it's going to make a quality player out of him. But again, on the other side, I do feel for him. He's been at this Arsenal side when you have two big lions in Alexander Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and even when both of them have fallen off a cliff, I don't think Xhaka has come in and proven himself as a player who's worth starting every 90 minutes for every game at Arsenal. But anyway, those two will be leaving in the summer, according to the latest interviews they have had. Now, in terms of Arsenal bringing in new players, especially on the forward line, again, the Telegraph in the Netherlands have confirmed for almost now the fifth time in a space of 2 weeks, Arsenal are really serious and they're progressing with Cody Gakpo. Now, Cody Gakpo obviously is one of those really, really, highly talented players linked with Arsenal. We all know the quality. He has 18 goals that this campaign, 15 assists. Look, he's amazing. He is absolutely amazing. And to some extent, I feel like Mikel Arteta wants to create that kind of front three that Liverpool have. He wants to create something like that. Because if you look at our midfield, it's more like a facilitation to the forward line. And at the moment, our only problem, if you look around, yes, we've conceded 6 goals in the last 3 games, but that is an average of 2 goals per 90. But we have also only scored 1. So our biggest problem at Arsenal at the moment is we do not score as many goals as we should be scoring. We do not get in, the numbers in terms of, scoring goals. So Cody Gakpo, if you look at his numbers, if you look at the figures he's producing, in the Netherlands league, yes, I understand what you're gonna tell me, Cossy. The Netherlands, the Dutch league is weaker, and less physical, and all that. But again, you remember the likes of Robin van Persie. That's where we've got them from Feyenoord. I'm not saying from PSV, but we got him from Feyenoord and from the Dutch league, and he's coming and proven. Players like Dennis Bergkamp played in the Dutch league. So we cannot turn a blind eye. We cannot take anything away from the Dutch Eredivisie. It also produces very, very quality players. And for me, Cody Gakpo, I've looked at him, I've watched him, I've watched his highlights, I've read a couple of scout reports around him. I think he's really, really good. And to make matters even more interesting, it is being suggested that Mikel Arteta is looking for a player of that caliber, a winger, explosively very, very fast, quick on the ball, and also scores a lot of goals. Rafinha is there for the taking, Richarlison and Cody Gakpo. But according to the Telegraph, tier 1 journalist in the Netherlands, they are saying Arsenal are progressing on Cody Gakpo. He is the man they view as their top priority in the summer. So look, I mean, we've looked at all these bullshit priority stories on Lautaro Martinez, on Richarlison, and whoever it is. But I'm gonna say with Cody Gakpo, there could be something in there. If you look at the price, if you look at the quality of the player, like I said, he's already engaged in more than 30 goals this season. And if you look at the price, around 30 to 45 million euros, I mean, in the Netherlands, you never have those, crazy prices of 80 million, 90 million, unless the player is, so good. So Cody Gakpo is, he's one to watch out for. Roman has already come out and said, look, Arsenal want that caliber, want that kind of player. So let's wait and see. Now, moving on. The other player that has been linked with us today, not the first time, but it's also kind of a confirmation. There are no talks between us and Lyon for Lucas Paqueta. But again, another story has come out this morning, and they've said Arsenal can now be confirmed as one of the 4 clubs in the Premier League that are interested in Lucas Paqueta. And what is interesting about this story, though, is that they're saying he's coming in as a replacement of Granit Xhaka. He would be coming in to replace Granit Xhaka, who is likely to leave Arsenal Football Club in the summer. Now, I think it was yesterday part 1, I told you that Arsenal and Mikel Arteta had decided that Ruben Neves is going to be our number 1 priority. Talks are ongoing between us and Judge Mendes, the agent of the player. I'm not turning back. I'm not changing my word, because that is that story comes in from Nicolo Schira and The Athletic. This is a story that comes in from France, and it could be mere speculation. It could be true as well. I think why it holds a lot of water and why it holds a lot of sense is the Brazilian connection between Edu and Lucas Paqueta. Because look, we know how much Edu has an influence on who comes in at the club, and what kind of signings we make. Now they're saying, according to Brazilian journalists, George Nicolo, Arsenal is one of the clubs interested in signing Lyon midfielder Lucas Paqueta, 24 years, to compensate for the departure of Granit Xhaka in the summer. Interest is coming in from Edu Gaspar himself. Lyon will ask for a huge amount, up to 80 million euros. And look, for me, I don't have a problem with Edu Gaspar going in for Brazilian players. Lucas Paqueta is a very, very good player. I've told you already. He's one of those players that will give you the same attacking threat, the same attacking input, just as his defensive input. And that's one of the things I love about him. But that is only if Mikel Arteta or if the manager is actually okay. Look, we do not want these kind of Willian situations to be back, where there is a disagreement between Mikel Arteta and Edu, because the player is Brazilian. He comes in and then he has to leave straight away. I think we do not want those situations to really happen. So Lucas Paqueta, top player, top midfielder. I cannot really write him off. He's one of the very, very best. I would really ask Arsenal to go for. And I think it doesn't really hurt if Arsenal go for Paqueta and Ruben Neves. We need more than one. That there's no question there. We need more than one. We need. I think we need two. I think we need three. Look, it's going to depend on where we are next season. Champions League probably is still on. We are back in fifth after Manchester United being destroyed by Liverpool. We need to get a point against Chelsea, or probably win that game. And if we can do that, go back to UEFA Champions League, go to the Europa League, depends. Make sure you bring in two central midfielders, one to replace Mohamed Elneny, and the other to replace Granit Xhaka. You could also have someone, a free other player. You could just bring in, someone probably on a free, maybe Florian Grealish from Hoffenheim, and that would actually work for us. But anyway, Lucas Paqueta, Edu Gaspar, very much interested. I think the Brazilian connection is at play. But there is a story I want us to talk about, and that is William Saliba. Lads, remember when I had just returned to YouTube, I said my instincts are that William Saliba might not be part of the long-term project Arsenal are viewing. And the logic and sense behind that was not that Saliba is not good enough. You remember, I said Saliba is one of the top players, top young centre-backs, and that is going to create a problem, or that has already created a problem for Arsenal, in itself. Now, Atletico Madrid are the most recent club to register interest in the player. According to reports from Spain, Atletico Madrid's Diego Simeone would want to have William Saliba in his team. It was going to reach this point. It was going to be that difficult for us now. Let me tell you why. When we signed William Saliba 2 summers ago, we were the favorites, right? Because he was playing in not in the Farmers League, but for me, the French league is a Farmers League. Okay, he was playing in one of the best European leagues, but the worst in ranking, right? And he was playing for a side that literally had no hope of playing in the UEFA Champions League or Europa League. And then what Arsenal did was provide that kind of, come to a bigger club stage. And he was excited. He was a very young centre-back. We paid, lots of money for him. And we got him on a bargain. And then we decided to treat him like an outcast for 2 good seasons. Now, what is happening? The player wants out. The player is going to look at the other offers on the table and it's going to go, look, Gabriel Magalhaes is incorporated in the side. Ben White is incorporated in the side. That is the best, the best, centre-back partnership you have. I'm not going to break into it anytime soon. I got to go. And do you blame him for that? I don't think anyone blames him for that. I don't think I would sit down and blame William Saliba. You a prat. How can you just leave Arsenal like that, minus playing a season for us? We never gave him the chance. And now the clubs that have started, talking about him, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Juve, Barca, these clubs are way more attractive than Arsenal. They have the money, they have the projects, and they have the managers, and he knows if he goes to Real Madrid, he's certainly, like, in less than 5 years, he will be in a Champions League final. If he plays for Diego Simeone, maybe he will not play in a UEFA Champions League final, but he knows he's gonna turn into one of the best players in the world, because he's playing for one of the best managers in the world under Diego Simeone. The same goes with Barca. He knows if he goes to Barca, he's gonna win the La Liga. He's gonna win the league anytime soon. All those things are absolute myths around Arsenal. They could happen, and on the other end, they might not happen. So I don't know what's going to happen with William Saliba. Atletico Madrid is interested. Arsenal are trying to tie him down on a new contract. Look, I hope we get it done. Because if we don't, we will have only one party to blame, and that is ourselves. No one else. Absolutely no one else. The other thing, the last thing I would love to talk about on the show is the Arsenal cultural. I don't know, like the Arsenal cultural correction that is being held, at the club by the Cronkies. Now, this is a story that was done by the Athletic. Arsenal have hired an external company to make sure, or to ask key stakeholders at the club in a bid to correct and resurrect the culture at Arsenal. What I don't understand with the Cronkies is this kind of bullshit that they go on throwing around. I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand what they're trying to say. We're trying to correct the culture at the club. The problem with this Arsenal side is, because, look, if you ask me, what is the problem at this Arsenal side? There are two things I would say. One, we lack the quality on the pitch. And two, we lack the quality in management. Those are two things. You need footballing people up there that understand the game. You need football people up there to make decisions for the team. That is one. And then number two, you need football people on the pitch. It's over. That's it. Because let me tell you, if Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp were deciding on who comes in at Arsenal, they would never say sign Cedric. They would never say sign Alex Runarsson. They would never say go and sign all this crap, all this crap we've been bringing in that has turned into deadwood, and now we're fighting to get it out. They would never say that. They will absolutely never say that. They would want the best for this team. And if you look at teams like Ajax, and you look at what the likes of Edwin van der Sar have done there, and Mark Overmars, it's interesting. It's absolutely interesting. But look, the cultural correction, for me, it's shit. They're trying to play around, aren't they? But then we have that game, big game for us. Arsenal take on, as we take on, Chelsea at the Stamford Bridge. Are we going to lose 4 in a row? Are we going to bounce back? United lost yesterday. It's a chance for us to just resurrect. Can we resurrect? We've always done it. We've always resurrected against Chelsea. So can we do it one more time? My name is Cossy. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Just give me a like. Just give me a like on the video. Simple as that. And I'll speak to you in the next one, right?